Hello, welcome to Divorce Real Talk, the podcast where we cut through the noise and tell the truth about divorce, co parenting, and rebuilding your life. I'm Mateo, divorce coach, father, someone that's lived the journey firsthand, and joined by my co host, Gio, who's also a father, a coach, a communicator, and a straight talker who helps people with clarity, confidence when they're feeling completely upside down. Now, each week, we're bringing you some real conversations, practical strategies, and hard earned lessons that we've taken from our own experiences. Okay. And there's no fluff here, no filters, just real talk. So you can move forward faster and stronger than ever. Welcome, Gio. Gio, let me ask you, what does marriage is love and divorce is a business mean to you?
It's become, I don't know, I guess a trademark. It's become my go-to because, you know, we get to know people through different stages in their lives, right? So when you think of a relationship, you get to know somebody when you start dating them. You get to know somebody, a different version of them when you move in together, a different version of them when you get married, when you have kids, and also in divorce. But the one thing, as I've been working as a divorce coach, as I've been working with family law firms, it dawned on me one day. Marriage is love, divorce is business. Marriage is supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to be forever and always. You're supposed to be building a life together. When you get to divorce, it's no longer love. The love is gone. The love is out. And now you're looking to create your new beginning. So that divorce process to me is business because it's a whole other version of the person that you're going to get to know. And you're both looking out for yourselves now. Where in the marriage, you're doing things together. Now, divorce, it's to go back to on your own. And the strategy is different. The way that you live your day to day is different. So yeah, marriage is love, divorce is business.
Agreed. And marriage, it's an emotional journey. It has its ups and downs. It's completely emotional. And then when it comes to divorce is the opposite. It's transactional, it's strategy, and it's process driven, right? And people make like the biggest mistakes. It's like, think of operating a business from an emotional state. You're gonna lose a hell of a lot of money. And it's the same thing in 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 marriage and in divorce because emotions are real, but they can be really expensive if you're operating um, out of that mindset.
And it's the number one mistake that people do, Mateo, is that they go through divorce and they remain emotional. Where when you get to court, the court doesn't care about emotions. The court cares about business. The court cares about the facts. So when I start working with somebody, it's immediately we need to remove the emotions from it. What's the goal? Let's put the eyes on the prize. Let's determine what it is that you want.
Exactly. I mean, love brought you in, and logic has to take you out.
Oh, perfectly said. And the thing is that it's true, right? And it's things that look, when I sit down with somebody and I ask them, I'm like, okay, so now the marriage is over. We're working towards divorce. What is it that you want? Well, I want him to be a good dad. Nope. What do you want? Well, I want, I did all. No. What do you want? Well, for years I didn't get. No. What do you want? It's kind of like that scene in the Notebook, right? Where you go, what do you want? Just, just what do you want? You have to get to the facts of it all. At the end of the day, marriage brings two lives together. Divorce is what separates them. So you have to lay the foundation to that new home, you have to lay the foundation to what it is your new home is going to look like.
Perfectly said, Gio. I mean, a lot of people, when you ask them, they don't even know what they want. And this is even put divorce aside or relationship aside. You ask them, what do you want? And they really have a hard time trying to figure out what they want because they never really thought about what they want. A lot of times they think about what they want from it. Like some people say they want a relationship, but why do they want a relationship? Well, because they want to be, have companionship. They want happiness at the end of the day. They want fulfillment. So it's not the actual relationship they want. They want the result of the relationship. So a lot of people don't even know what they want when it comes to divorce. Like, what do you want at the end? So that you make a really good point.
You need to set the guidelines, and I'm about to drop a little bit of a bomb in a couple of minutes, but you need to draw the guidelines of what it is you want in divorce. So if you've got kids, what do you want custody to be? What's the split? Child support, potential alimony. What are you doing with the house? Everything has to be clear so that when you start negotiating, or, and I hope this is the case, your attorney starts negotiating for you, they know what they're working with. They need to
And
have the set plan in order to move forward for you.
and it's important for you to be really honest with yourself because I'm sure we both work for family law firms and we deal with people every day. And I find that some people really come from it from the wrong place, meaning, they when it comes to custody, they want more custody because they want to save on child support. Like they're going in it the wrong way. It's like, what do you really want? What are you trying to accomplish here? Is it to lower your child support or do you really want to spend more time with your kid? Right?
Well,
And I'm sure you've come across this.
absolutely. And, the issue comes from a couple of different things. One, people refuse to look at themselves honestly in the mirror and decide what it is that they want. The other one is that they're influenced by their mother, their sister, their aunt, their uncle. You should be doing this. He should be paying. He should be this. She should stop. It's now we're dealing with strategy. Now we're dealing with what does the future look like. You can't go into court and say, well, he's an asshole, so I want the kids full time. You're going to have to prove that beyond the shadow of a doubt, not because your aunt says that, your ex is a moron, that all of a sudden you deserve full custody. These are things that you have to be legitimate about. There are things where you look at yourself in the mirror, and one of the things that I get often is, well, I'm the main parent. The kid should be with me. But hold on a second.
Mhm.
What's the real reason why the other parent doesn't deserve shared custody? Well, he doesn't cook. Well, maybe he will. Just because the other person doesn't cook as well as you doesn't mean that their food is garbage. Well, I'm the stricter parent. Okay, bedtimes are going to be different with the other parent. Routines are going to be different with the other parent. You have to realize that you're leaving this person, therefore, the child is going to live a different routine with the other parent, regardless of how good or how shitty of a parent you think they are.
Yes, and I see that a lot. And after your divorce, the ongoing piece of it again has to, you really have to take the emotions out of it because what you're saying is having different routines, eating different foods, having this kind of just different dynamic. That's good for a child. I mean, that builds flexibility, that builds resilience. This is actually a good thing. And I mean, I know that with me, when I was going through it, and for a long time, I was so reactive to everything that my ex would come at me. She would text me, and right away, I'd be texting her back, completely in defensive mode. Okay, and what's interesting is my wife, my current wife, Every time I did that, she says, I know exactly what's going to happen next. And I'm like, no, you don't. And she says, watch. And guess what? She was always right. Okay.
Yep.
She was completely always right. Every time I reacted, I made things worse. And every time I explained, I sounded guiltier. I'm trying to over explain myself and reacting to everything she said. Now, uh, it was the time when I actually realized, and this is when the boundaries come into it, where I don't have to react. I'm just going to sit on it. I'm going to set my boundaries. And when she saw that I was unemotionally available, at first it was tough because it just kept coming back and coming back. But then she saw, hey, wait, he's not reacting to this. I'm not pulling him in. And that's when everything shifted. And now today I could tell you I have, the best relationship. I never thought it would be possible to have this kind of relationship with my ex. But when you remove the emotions, and like you said, you get down to the facts, you're very logical about things, it shifts everything.
Well, you said it best, Mateo. You were reactive. You were reactive. You let emotions guide you. Now, let's be absolutely clear as to what divorce is. They are no longer accountable to you, and you are no longer accountable to them. Listen to that one
Bingo.
more time. Divorce means they are no longer accountable to you, and you are no longer accountable to them. Your lives are now separate. And if you have kids, you gotta live with the way that the other person parents. And don't get me wrong, okay? Like, let's remove the 15% of the ultimate a-holes and the 15% of the ultimate, like, morons. We're dealing with the 70% in the middle. At one point, you decided to have a child with this person. At one point, you decided to get married to this person. Whatever happened, happened. But at some point, you believed in the love. You believed in the potential of being good parents. So there's still something there. Just because now it's not working the way you want doesn't mean that they're going to change. They're not. If they were going to change, you'd still be married. You
Well said.
divorce is accepting the person for who they are and realizing that that person is no longer a good fit in your life. You're
Well
not going
said.
to change
Well
them.
said.
You're not going to change them, brother.
Yeah. And you know what? What you said is, yeah, we are talking about the 70% because there are, 15% on either side that are horrible people or maybe fell into an addiction. There's all these underlying issues there. And I understand that. But like you said, we're talking to the 70% who, like you said again, fell in love, decided to have a child, decided to have this future. And things obviously changed, different paths, and you have to respect that. You have to respect each other for where you're at, even though you don't want to and you're upset at the other person. It's not about you.
It isn't. And right now, even though we're recording this, I can hear the people, yeah, but my divorce is different. Yeah, but my divorce is, yeah, but my. No, it isn't. It isn't. Your, your divorce is not special. Your divorce is not unique. Your divorce is the same crap that attorneys have seen over and over and over again. There's
Yeah, but
nothing
my ex
that
did this.
but my ex did this. What's your point? But my ex did it.
She did this. She did this. Exactly.
But at the end of the day, and working with family law attorneys, I hear it often. Oh, Gio, it's nice to. Hey, listen, man, I know you deal with this stuff every single day, but let me tell you, my story's different. Okay. 25 minutes later, oh yeah, I have Ricky, Bobby, Maria, Mikey, Teresa, and Terry that all went through the same shit. Your divorce isn't special.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I get where people come from. Your
It's
divorce is
emotional.
special to you.
It's emotional. And now here's the other bombshell I want to drop on you. You ready for this one, Mateo? When I hear men say the system is against us, I used to believe in it for so long. The court system screws over the man. Women are at the advantage. You know what I've come to realize in the last year and a half? For the most part, total BS. And I figured out
Really?
the reason why. You ready for this?
Tell us. Tell us, man. Tell us. We're all waiting, including me.
So we talk about marriage is love, divorce is business, right? So men and women approach divorce differently. Their strategy starts off at different times. And again, this is for the majority of people, all right? Not for everybody, for the majority. As soon as a woman says the words, I am not happy, she is starting to picture a life without you.
She's already in preparation.
She's already, for men, as long as she's sleeping at home, everything is okay. So now I want you to picture you have two people that are married, and they each buy a storefront across the street from each other. When the woman says, I am not happy, her business plan gets started. The man does nothing. When she is ready to drop the hammer on the divorce, that's when he starts working. And this can take 3 months, 6 months, a year. But she's working on that storefront. She's picking out the menu. She's picking out the decorations on the wall. She's hiring staff. She's getting ready for the day the divorce is happening. Yeah, but she still sleeps at home. Everything must be okay. She's still sleeping at home. And then she announces, I want to divorce you. She's just announced the opening date to her business. He hasn't even cleaned up the clutter in the empty storefront. So now what happens?
He doesn't even see the clutter. Yeah.
He hasn't even looked across the street to see that the business is being built. He sees nothing. So what happens is now he's in catch-up mode. She's opening the store in 3 days. He's 3, 6, 9, 12, 18 months behind. She's called the attorneys. She's put the money away. She's prepared the paperwork. She's done everything to get ready for this divorce. He still believes everything's okay. And don't get me wrong, when a woman says she's unhappy, it doesn't mean that the relationship is doomed. It means that the ticker started. You have the possibility of fixing things. But if they don't get fixed, she's getting ready. And then all we hear is, no, but I got blindsided. No, you didn't. You were just blind.
It's almost like when she says that, it's like the check engine light coming on your car. And if you're not seeing that check engine light and you keep driving, it's just a matter of time. And you know what? I know a lot of guys, and I'll even say it, myself included, where it comes down to divorce, and I sit there thinking, what happened? Well, I feel like I've been blindsided. However, I wasn't. When I do look back, I do see the signs. I do see there were signs. I always thought things were happy in my first marriage, and I have friends the same, exactly the same, where they're like, I thought she was happy, and like you said, she was still sleeping at the house, and but she was strategizing. And I tell men today that I speak to every day, I say, look, because they just want some information, but they don't want to commit. And I say, look, guys, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. You need
Oh,
to be prepared. You need to have the information. You need to be at least know what your options are, how things look like moving forward. You need this information. It's critical.
and here's another knock on men, right? And again, we're speaking in generalities. You have the man who's the hunter, the provider, right? Works 80 hours a week. There's 3 kids at home. He's missing birthdays. He's missing this. He's missing that. Why? Under the context that he's providing for his family. The bomb drops. She asks for full custody, and she's gonna get it. Why? While I was out providing for my family, I never expected her to do this. The courts don't care. The courts aren't going to award custody to somebody who doesn't know their kids. So this might sound stupid, but especially when I work with dads, right? The ones that tell me, Gio, I work 80 hours a week. I'm not. Okay, what's your kid's favorite color? Who's your kid's best friend?
Who's your kid's teacher? What
Who's your
school do
kid's
they go
teacher?
to?
When was the last time that your kid went to the doctor and what did the doctor say? This is not the 1980s where divorce is taboo, okay? Look, I come from a generation where, God bless my dad, rest his soul, he used to work 7 days a week as a travel agent. My school was literally 150 yards from the house. My father couldn't find it on a map. He never went that direction to work, so he had no idea where the school was. I got the, Joab, what grade are you in? I got those. But divorce was taboo and it was a whole different lifestyle back then. Now, you can work 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week, but there's no excuse for not knowing your kid. And if you leave everything in her hands, I'm sorry to say it, but she deserves custody. You have to be prepared. You need to know that Gio Jr., his best friends are Ricky, Bobby, and Mike, and they're over every weekend. And you need to know who the parent. You have to have some appearances. You have to have some appearances. I'm telling you, bro. I've dated before where I would show up to the kids' sport, and people go, "Oh, the dad is finally involved." No, I'm the boyfriend. They go, "Where's the dad?" Hell if I know. It's all about removing the emotion and being prepared. And if for whatever reason you are listening to this podcast and you think everything is going good, you should still have the lesson of, do I know my kid enough? Do I know what my kid's favorite food is? Do I know who his best friend is? If there's a play date, do I go over? There's no excuses for not knowing your kids.
There really isn't, and most people are oblivious to it. And some people think, look, this will never happen to me. This is not my situation. Well, guess what? I thought so too, and it changed for me. So it could change for anyone. Uh,
The
and and,
divorce
and
rate is 60%. And let me take it a step further, okay? This is for the ones that don't have kids. you're the guy that works 80 hours a week. You paid for the house, you paid for the cars, you paid. How do you not know how much is in your bank account? How do you not know what your investments are? How do you not know where the paperwork is? How do you not know? No, but I trusted her. Yeah, and look at what she did.
It's
But here's
funny
the
because
thing,
I,
and this is where women are gonna love me and men are gonna hate me. Women, you deserve it. Men, you deserve what you get too. And it's the same thing the other way around. And this is where marriage is love. Marriage is not stupidity. Marriage is love. Marriage is not stupidity. You should always be aware of what's going on in your couple. You should always be aware of what the family assets are. It's your job as spouse number one to know about it. And it's your job as spouse number two to make sure that spouse number one is informed.
and it's not even your job; it's your responsibility. I think that's even a responsibility, right? Um, I had an interesting uh, talk with someone that was going through divorce, and exactly what you said. His spouse uh, looked after all the finances. He didn't have a credit card to his name. Everything had to go through his spouse. And now that he's going through the divorce, he's with another woman right now. He hasn't even learned. He's still she's basically, and it's just his girlfriend, but she's already dealing with his finances and already doing that. And I said, "Whoa, like, what are you doing? You need to take responsibility. You need to be in control of your own finances and know what's going on."
It's teamwork. But it's teamwork on everything. This is why, 50-50. You can achieve 50-50 in a couple, but the 50-50 is a different kind of breakdown. It's not I'll do the dishes once and you do the dishes once like no, it's you take a look at everything and you realize that you're each going to have some of the boring tasks. But you're each going to have some of the biggest responsibility. But just like any good leader, right? If ever Alex falls sick, I need to be able to pick up the slack. See, I'll give you the easiest example. It's 50-50, right? I work from home. I do the majority of the cooking, she does the cleaning. That's 50-50. But if ever she's not feeling well, what am I going to do? I'm going to leave the dishes until the next day, 3 days down the road, and be like, yeah, babe, but it's 50-50. Like, you didn't wash the dishes. You don't do that.
No,
The
of
same
course
way,
not.
if
And
I'm
and
sick and I don't feel well, she's going to have to get supper ready. That's the way a relationship is supposed to work. But you're supposed to each be aware of something. You're each supposed to know who the insurance guy is. You're each supposed to know who the investment person is. What bank holds your mortgage? What bank holds the loans for the cars? All of it. Because the second that things go wrong, let me tell you how many times I hear, oh, but they handle everything and they don't want to share anything with me. Well, that's where I call BS. You didn't want to know.
right.
Because if they shield it from you, there's already issues in your couple. So don't tell me that they were shielding crap from you for 20 years and now that there's a divorce, it became an issue. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work that way. And you know what? Sometimes this could be cultural as well. And I remember when Gloria came into my life and we're living together, we just got married, we went to the bank. And I was always raised and brought up and believed in, you know, we share our bank accounts. Whatever you make, whatever I make goes into the same account. We pay the bills collectively with that. Maybe if you want to have your own personal account for your own stuff and I have my personal account separate, that's fine. But I don't even do that in our case. So I remember going to the bank and we're sitting there with the banker and he's like, "Are you sure you want to? You know, she has access to all your accounts and she's able to." And I said, "Yes." And he was still hesitating, like he didn't want to turn the computer around for her to kind of see stuff. But I said, "No, it's okay. Like we're married. This is 50-50. I want her to see everything. She knows everything. I'm not hiding anything." And same goes for, like you said, the 50-50. Yeah, we have a somewhat 50-50. Maybe she does a little bit more. And it's not a gender specific thing, although I've had comments from the outside saying, "Wait, so your wife cooks, does the dishes, does the laundry, and what you shovel snow, you barbecue, you take out the garbage. Like you do more of the male stuff, she does more of the female stuff." And I said, "We've never looked at it that way. We play to our strengths. That's what she likes. I don't particularly like it. She loves cleaning. She's got a cleaning company and she does that. Do I help her? Of course. When she asks me, 'Hey, Mateo, can you vacuum or can you do this?' Boom, I jump, I help her. I'm there for her. But I think whatever works for someone, however the roles are, is fine. But like you said, it has to be there has to be contribution, and it doesn't have to be equal, but it has to be enough to satisfy both partners to bring each other up and work as a team and have that real partnership.
Yeah, and if it doesn't work and it gets to the point of divorce, it's fine. But you got to be honest with what the decisions were in the marriage, and also what part you played in those decisions. Which is why, as a divorce coach, I force people to look at themselves in the mirror and be like, "But this is what your part to play." And it could be something as simple as you accepted the wrong type of behavior and the wrong type of treatment too long, but it's still a decision. But everything, it takes two to tango. There's two people that are responsible. Look, I'm twice divorced. I have my reasons, my part to play in each of the divorce. I never hide away from them. But when you're at this point with this episode of Marriage is Love and Divorce is Business, it's the first thing that you're going to do, divorce related, is remove the emotion, and you're going to go on strategy. You're going to stop taking advice from every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and you're going to work on strategy. You're going to stop listening to everybody's story, and you're going to work on your strategy. You're at the point of divorce. Emotions are out. Whatever happened, happened. But now you got to strategize to go and get yours. There's no other way to put it. And we've worked on hundreds of divorces between you and I since we've gotten into this game. Mateo, am I exaggerating when I say every divorce, okay, 100% of divorces where we've encountered issues is because of our clients being too emotional and not willing to look at the big picture? Am I exaggerating?
100%. No, you're 100% correct and accurate. It's hard to see the forest from the trees. You can't see that big picture. You're in this thing, and the emotional aspect of it, that's a default. As human beings, it's hard not to be emotional. But by having the right team, by being proactive, by 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 preparing yourself, knowing your options, having the right people behind you, having the professionals, and having a mentor, having a coach, and not necessarily, your friends, or like you said, your uncles, cousins, nephews, brother, or whatever. You need to have the right people around you, people that are actually giving you advice from experience, um, from their education. That's what you need. And when you have that, slowly, that the emotions, you can kind of put to the side and be logical about what you're doing and strategize, because that's what's going to bring you to the other side, and for you to, move forward and grow and become that person, that you need to be moving forward.
Yeah. And as this show comes to a close, I hope that people understand the difference between marriage and divorce, between love and business, between emotion and logic, between reaction and strategy. And over the next few episodes, we're going to focus on how to get ready for divorce. And this is going to stem as much from building your initial strategy to finding an attorney to, you know, the step-by-step guide to building your team, everything that you need to get ready for divorce. um, we're gonna have some guests that'll join us on different key subjects, but our goal here, folks, is to guide you through your divorce, to give you the real information, and to let you benefit from all the knowledge and experience that we have collectively as to what has worked and what has not worked for us, but also what has worked for us, and what has worked for our clients and what hasn't worked for our clients. And this is what we're going to bring to you. So we got through the episodes where we introduced each other to the world. Now it's the focus of marriage is love, divorce is business. And the next is just getting ready. So
Getting
Mateo,
ready.
are you ready to get the people ready?
I am ready to get the people ready, and very excited about this chapter in our lives as well. And this is a calling for me, and I know it's a calling for you as well. This is what we want to do, and there's nothing more satisfying than being able to help someone, and having that, being that day maker, and making someone's day, helping them out get through tough times, because we all go through them. um, and it's very important to be able to get that information and get those resources to get to the other side, and just keep growing as people, as humans.
Exactly. So this comes to the end of the episode. Mateo obviously enjoying, fun in the sun with the family. So brother, enjoy it. Bring some heat back to where I am. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Divorce Real Talk. Marriage is love, divorce is business. And we'll catch you in the next episode where we continue to guide you through the journey that is called divorce.
Peace.